Meanwhile, ISIS may be losing ground in Syria and Iraq, but acting Homeland Security Director Elaine reminding us of a continued desire by ISIS and other jihadi groups to inflict large-scale 9/11-style attacks. Here with us now, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. He's president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Doctor, good to see you. Thank you for being here. It reminds me, they're losing ground, no doubt, in Syria and in Iraq. Some question about what's happening in the Philippines, but as they lose ground, they become like a wounded animal, and in some cases, perhaps even more dangerous in enacting terrorist attacks than they were before.
Absolutely. I mean, we forget that their recruitment tool is jihadi attacks, be it vehicular jihad or attacks as they do in Europe or whatever. So they may lose territory. The territory was for them to put their flag down, to get the oil reserves, the food monies, sex slavery, other things that allow them to have infusion of income. But the ideology grows when they're on the run, when they're victimized, when they say that ultimately they can take credit for things they may not even have done. But we've seen the staccato of the increase recently of attacks. Even Al-Shabaab, which is not ISIS, but obviously is growing into this jihadi brand. We saw in Niger the attack that killed our 4 servicemen, and ultimately they're going to continue to try to increase the brand and try to claim that they're going to do some major operation, which might even be a distraction, so that they can do some other attack through their viral mechanisms.
I don't want to downplay the enormous success we've had, because this administration is really staying on top of things, thinking ahead of ISIS as opposed to reacting to ISIS. So how do you think now our strategy will change? Now that we have squeezed them in Syria, squeezed them in Iraq, what do we do different now to make sure there's not another 9/11 attack?
Well, absolutely. We finally have a president and a Department of Defense that is waging the war, that's decimating them militarily. But what needs to change is we're going to continue a military whack-a-mole program unless we look at the precursors, the nonviolent Islamist jihadist ideology, which is really Salafi jihadism that exists throughout many of these regional countries, from Iraq to Saudi Arabia to Egypt to Somalia to Pakistan, etc. So also we're going to have to wage a war against the offshoots of Tehran, of Hezbollah, that's now filling in vacuums that ISIS used to have, which led to the war in Kirkuk against the Kurds. And I hope we don't abandon our allies, real allies like the Peshmerga and the Kurds and others, which is going to need to be done.
By the way, I have to wrap, but that is a tragedy that now their allies, their one-time allies, the Iranian-related Shia in Iraq, are now going against the Kurds. Did the Kurds survive very quickly?
I think they will ultimately, because behind the scenes we're going to be protecting them, but in the long term we need to shift what we're doing on the ground.
Gotcha. Zuhdi Jasser, I wish we had more time. Thank you very much for being here.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.